Hi guys, it's Mark. So the other day, me and my son were both talking about how we started our businesses from scratch when we were teenagers, and I thought it might be a topic that you guys would be interested in too. So I put out a poll on Instagram asking you if you'd like to know the exact steps we took in order to start our businesses with no money, and over 5,000 of you guys said yes. Now, very much like me, my son turned his passion into his business and now gets paid to travel all over the world and do what he loves, and he also doesn't have to answer to any bosses, and that's always a great thing. In my opinion, I thought it was really important he started with no financial help from me and start from zero just like I did, because if you just handed the money, you're never going to value it so much. But the thing I did give him was my advice, and this is the same advice I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So without any further ado, let me introduce you to my son Curtis.
Right guys,
First time on the channel, anything you'd like to say?
smash that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm.
In this video, we're going to unpack your 4 years on running your own business, and we're going to break it up into the 6 stages and create a roadmap so that anyone else can follow the steps you've taken. Make sure to wait to the end, as we will be revealing your net worth. So the first stage of any entrepreneur is the really big one. You get to the age of 18 or whichever age it happens to be, and you have to choose, are you going to go to university or not? So what did you choose?
It's very true. Most of my friends went to uni, as you know, but I always had this passion inside of me from seeing you and my granddad. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to start a business. I just had to figure out what it was.
What you've got to remember with universities and colleges is, of course, they are actually businesses themselves. And what they're trying to do is get as many youngsters to go to universities because they need your revenue to be able to operate.
And Dad wasn't paying for me.
I wasn't paying for him. Right, so you're 18. Yep, you're fresh out of school and you're in that really awkward stage, the cash builder stage. So how did you go about getting your money together to get started?
Well, I knew I had to do something to get some money because, like we say, it's all about starting a business with no money, but you do need to get some money behind you, I'd say.
That's for sure.
So yeah, I looked at different things I could do. I always did certain side hustles. I used to pick up the leaves in the garden, didn't I?
You did, yeah.
$1 a bag.
Yeah.
That's what Dad used to pay
There were a
me.
lot of bags, I'll tell you. I think half of them were half full, to be honest, but he earned the money.
I tell you what, he made me push the leaves down in the bag to actually, he was very stingy with his $1, I have to say. So anyway, yeah, I looked for other side hustles and I found a side hustle as an extra, a film extra. So I started doing all these different jobs. I was actually in Fantastic Beasts, which is a Harry Potter style film.
Yeah, you're in quite a lot of films.
Yeah, and that was my favourite one. I got a wand, I was a dark wizard. I'll tell you, it was a very good job because I got some money behind me, but I also had hours and hours and hours of doing nothing.
And what did you do in that time?
I thought about my business and the plans I wanted to do and all of that stuff.
You were always borrowing my books as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I like your business books, and Dad's got a huge shelf of different books, so I was reading as much as I could, and I thought I'm going to take my passion like Dad did and start a business in videography. And this is what I do now, so all of this video stuff that we're doing is with my cameras.
So the main thing when you're building your cash up is to keep your expenses as low as possible. So how did you manage that?
Well, I lived at home with you.
Oh, all right. So did you sponge off us at all?
Well, I paid a little bit of rent. Yeah, no, it's certainly better than going out and getting my own place. So yeah, you can save a lot of money by doing that, I think.
But also, you were in that filmmaking environment, so the tips that you can pick up from that are amazing. So this is where a side hustle has definitely progressed to a main living and a very, very good business, I think. So you had a little bit of money, but you had no customers and you had no business. Now this is the stage we call the investment stage. So how did you invest your money and your time into your business?
Well, I like to do something called free to fee, and basically I went out and did a ton of free videos. Literally anything I could do. I did club videos, nightclubs, I did weddings, I did food videos, I did parties, loads of different things.
I think I helped you at a few of those, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. A few events. You had me, you're a cameraman on a few events. But the point of that was to invest my time to make these connections, because at that moment I had loads of time, I had a backup fund, I had a bit of money, but I didn't have any clients, so I needed those connections.
So the message here is to invest in your business, and your most valuable resource when you start is your time, and how you work that time is the best way of getting all your contacts, and also doing your free to fee work. and that helps build your network. And of course, a network is your net worth. You can also, while you're doing the free work, you're doing market research as well, and you can hand out your cards and tell them who you are and what you can do. So test all the different industries that you can.
And the thing I would add to that is you definitely see who would pay the most, what industries pay the most as well.
That is always a good one to find out. So you're doing all this free work and you're building up all of these connections. Now this is the stage that we call the payment stage. So how did you decide on your prices and also what your targets were going to be?
I remember actually quite clearly sitting down with you. Do you remember this?
Yes, of course.
We were in the sitting room and you said, what is your target to hit this year? What do you want to hit? And I said something quite low, I can't remember.
And how did I react?
You know what, I was pretty put down by the way you reacted. He goes, that's not enough. That is nowhere near enough.
Well, I say, you know, shoot for the stars and at least you'll get a few of them. You've got to set your targets high, so at least you're going to get part way along that path. If you exceed what you want to do, great. But if you can get part way there, and you'll always get further if you've got a higher target. So when was the first time that you actually charged the amount you wanted to charge?
Well, that's a bit of a funny story actually. As you know, I used to do YouTube. I got an email randomly into my email box and it said from Red Bull. I was like, well, there's no way this is actually from Red Bull, but it actually turned out I did a few emails back and forth and it was, and they're offering me to go around the world and help present their show, the Red Bull cliff diving. And they were paying me a decent amount of money to travel. It was the first time I actually felt valued in what I did and noticed for my filmmaking and also my presenting. It was brilliant.
And you got to visit some places that you would have never ever visited otherwise as well.
Yeah. And stand on the 27 metre high diving boards.
Very high.
It was a bit scary, but it was great fun.
So the main takeaway from this stage is valuing your skills or products. And you've got to be pleased with the price you're charging for them. And then when you're happy with that, you can go for your target. And that's why you have a target, so you can stretch to it and hit your target. So Curtis's business is now up and running, and he's getting some really cool opportunities to travel the world, but he also probably wants to earn some more money. This is the price increase stage. So how did you do it?
I was on a trip in Morocco filming some stuff. And then I decided randomly, as soon as I got back to the airport, to take a trip to Malta, because one of my friends who I just met actually, I think a week before, said, come out and see me in Malta. So I did exactly that. I went over and I stayed in her house and we sat down together and she said, what you really need to do now, you're great, you've done all of these things. She listed down all the different industries I've worked in. She said, which ones pay you the most and which ones do you enjoy the most? And it has so happened that I enjoyed the one that paid me the most. So we went, scrap all the others,
Perfect.
Focus on that one, and that's what I did.
So the message here is you don't have to be a jack of all trades. You know, you want to be an expert in just one field, and you can pivot your business, even if you're narrowing down your potential market, because you don't have to appeal to everyone.
Usually if you try and appeal to everyone, you just don't appeal to anyone, do you?
Because you're spreading yourself too thin, and you don't know enough about each particular field, so being an expert is definitely the way to go. So by this stage, everything's going really, really well, and you've got lots and lots of customers, and you're charging more and more for your services. So the next stage is outsourcing. So how did you get on with that?
So what I did was I looked at all the areas that were taking me the most time to do and that I didn't enjoy it as much as the other things. And I thought, right, how can I outsource and hire someone to do these specific jobs? One of them was my accounts. I hate doing accounts.
I hate accounts.
Editing was another area where I thought I would outsource because I was spending so much time at the computer and I got paid more when I was out in the field doing my filming.
So the key takeaway here is to find somebody to help you, particularly on those jobs you don't like so much. And you can then really focus on what you're really good at, and you can then work in your zone of genius.
And what you find is sometimes I was a bit worried about outsourcing because I thought, oh, I'm going to lose a bit of money, you know, I'm going to have to pay someone else. But because you're spending so much time on the stuff you're actually good at and you enjoy, I found that I've made more money.
Yeah, so definitely don't be afraid of giving up a little bit of money so that you can make a lot more money. And now for the question you've all been waiting for. What's your current net worth at age 22?
So if you really want to know, starting from zero, 4 years ago in my business, now I'm probably out adding all my equipment, all my investments up, about $63,000, which isn't too bad.
That's very good, and that's around about 113,000 more than if you were leaving university now, because you'd be saddled probably with debt. I don't know what the debts are nowadays for university and college.
My friends are probably on about $52,000 of debt, so yeah, it's definitely the good route for me, because I know that I would have probably just done the same thing.
And of course, a lot of people would argue that going to university or college, you'll come out and you'll be offered a much better job. But I know for sure that Curtis has been offered a job for $65,000 a year, and you said...
I said no, because I enjoy what I'm doing, but it's good to know that if I wanted to, I could get a job.
So I'm going to leave Curtis's links in the description below, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments and we'll get straight back to you. So I'm going to leave the next video right up here, so don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to grow your wealth, ring that old bell and smash that like button. Alright, I'll see you over there.